Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive in. Today we're going deep into the world of online scams,
Oh, yeah.
and specifically, the ones targeting cryptocurrency. It's a jungle out there,
It
folks.
really is.
And these scammers are getting more and more sophisticated every day. They're targeting everyday people just like you and me.
Absolutely. People just trying to build a better future for themselves and their families.
Exactly. They prey on those hopes, on those aspirations for financial security.
It's truly disheartening to see how these scams exploit those fundamental values, the values of hard work,
Yeah,
responsibility, taking care of your loved ones. It's a twisted way to take advantage of those who are striving for a better life.
that's right. And one of the most alarming trends we're seeing is this thing called pig butchering.
Pig
Yeah,
butcher.
you heard that right. Pig butchering. These scammers, they take their time, they build relationships, they gain your trust.
So they act like your friend?
Pretend to be your friend, exactly. And then, bam,
They pull the rug out.
they lure you into these shady investment platforms. And you're left with nothing.
It's like they're fattening up their victims with promises of big returns before ultimately making off with their hard-earned savings.
And it's not just pig butchering. The California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, the DFPI, they've got this crypto scam tracker. And let me tell you, it's a real eye-opener. I mean, we're talking imposter scams,
Wow.
live stream scams, crypto blackmail, you name it, it's in there. The sheer volume of scams is just mind-boggling.
It really highlights how widespread this problem has become, and it makes you wonder, what's driving this effectiveness? Why are so many people falling victim to these schemes?
Yeah, that's the big question. So let's dig into some real-life examples from the DFPI report to see how these scams actually play out. One that really struck me was Alana's story. She met someone on a dating app.
Oh, online dating scams?
Seemed like a normal guy. They hit it off, started chatting, but then things took a turn.
Of course.
He started talking about this crypto leverage scheme.
Sounds familiar. Classic pig butchering tactic.
Right. Creating that connection, that sense of trust, and then using it against you. Well, Alana, she thought she was making a killing. Her investments on paper were skyrocketing.
Oh, I bet she was excited.
But when she tried to cash out,
Uh-oh.
the platform hit her with all these bogus fees. And just like that, poof, her profits vanished.
It's heartbreaking how these scammers toy with people's lives, their hopes for a better future.
It really is. Another one that caught my eye involved scammers impersonating Currency Exchange International. They created this whole elaborate facade, mimicking a well-known company.
Leveraging that familiarity, that trust.
Exactly. They know people are more likely to trust a name they recognize,
Right.
so they exploit that. And speaking of familiar faces, we have to talk about this whole situation with Hawk Tuah.
Oh, yeah, the social media influencer.
Right. He's facing some serious heat for promoting a cryptocurrency that, well, a lot of people are calling a scam.
That's a tricky one. It really raises questions about the role of influencers, their responsibility, especially in a space as volatile and unregulated as cryptocurrency.
Yeah, it's a tough one. On one hand, people look up to these influencers, they trust their judgment, but on the other hand, you've got these scammers potentially using those influencers to push their schemes. It's a minefield out there.
Absolutely. And that's where this excerpt from Pasted Text comes in. It gives us a glimpse into the strategy behind these pump and dump schemes. They basically inflate the price of a worthless coin, get everyone all hyped up, and
As
then
the price peaks, they cash out.
leaving everyone else holding the bag.
Classic pump and dump. And it's not just limited to crypto. We've seen this happen time and again in other markets. But the decentralized, often unregulated nature of crypto makes it a prime target for manipulation.
Exactly. And that's why we're diving into all of this today. We want to equip you with the knowledge to navigate this complex landscape and protect yourselves from falling victim to these schemes.
That's right. We're here to expose those tactics, shine a light on what's really going on, and give you the information you need to make smart decisions.
It's about empowering you, giving you the tools to spot those red flags and avoid those scams. We'll be back after a short break to delve even deeper.
Stay with us.
And this whole thing with Hawk Tuah, it really shows how blurry the lines can get between a legitimate promotion and a potential scam.
Yeah, on the surface, it looks like any other influencer endorsing a product.
Right, we see it all the time.
But with cryptocurrency, and especially these newer, less-known coins, there's a whole other layer of risk involved.
Absolutely, and the scammers know this. They target folks who are drawn to crypto for those quick profits.
The get-rich-quick crowd.
Exactly, those who might not fully understand the complexities.
So how do we tell the difference? How do we know if someone like Hawk Tuah is genuinely passionate about this project, or if they're knowingly pushing a scam?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Critical thinking is key here. You got to look beyond the hype, beyond the influencer's endorsement, and really dig into the coin itself.
So do your homework.
Absolutely. Look into the team behind it, their track record. What are people saying about it? Watch out for those red flags. Hyped up language, promises of guaranteed returns, anything that feels too good to be true.
And a lack of transparency, right? If they're not being upfront about the project's fundamentals, that's a big warning sign.
Exactly. If something feels off, trust your gut. Don't be afraid to walk away.
So it's not about blindly trusting the influencer.
No, not at all.
It's about doing your own research, being a smart consumer.
Now let's shift gears for a moment and talk about something that often gets overlooked. The emotional impact of these scams on the victims.
Yeah, it's not just about the money. It's about the betrayal, the shame, that feeling of helplessness.
Absolutely. These scams can be deeply traumatizing. They can leave victims feeling vulnerable, foolish, and ashamed to talk about what happened.
And that silence only benefits the scammers.
Exactly. It allows them to continue operating in the shadows, preying on more unsuspecting victims.
So how can we better support those who have fallen victim to these scams?
Well, first and foremost, we need more empathy and understanding.
Yeah, anyone can fall victim to these scams.
Blaming the victim only makes things worse.
It does. We need to provide resources and support.
Connect victims with mental health professionals, financial advisors, even legal aid if necessary.
There are groups out there specifically dedicated to helping victims of online scams. They offer guidance, counseling, and advocate for victims' rights.
And we need to hold those scammers accountable. We need to work with law enforcement to bring them to justice.
So it's a multi-pronged approach.
Prevention, support, and enforcement. That's how we fight back.
Now let's dig a little deeper into pig butchering scams.
These are the ones where the scammers really play the long game.
Yeah, they take their time building those relationships.
It's all about psychological manipulation. They prey on our desire for connection, our natural tendency to trust those we feel close to.
And the DSPI report has some truly heartbreaking examples of pig butchering scams.
One that really stood out to me involved a victim who met someone named Lisbon on Facebook.
It started with some harmless chats, maybe some shared interests.
Exactly, building that rapport, that sense of familiarity.
And then I bet Lisbon starts talking of this amazing investment opportunity.
You got it. In this case, it was a cryptocurrency trading platform called Trusted Stations. Lisbon painted a picture of easy money, financial freedom.
So they convinced the victim to put in a small amount just to test the waters.
Of course, and when you know it, the platform shows those great returns at first.
The victim thinks they've hit the jackpot.
It's all part of the plan.
And then Lisbon tells them, hey, you need to upgrade your account to access even bigger profits.
The bait and switch.
The victim, blinded by excitement, sends a bigger chunk of cash.
And poof, money gone. Lisbon disappears, leaving the victim with nothing but regret and a feeling of utter betrayal.
It's insidious. They prey on our emotions, our hopes for a better future.
It's a reminder to always be cautious when someone's pushing you to make financial decisions, especially when it comes to investments like cryptocurrency.
So what are some of the red flags that might signal a pig butchering scam?
Well, one of the biggest is a relationship that moves way too fast.
Like love bombing.
Exactly. Showering you with compliments, declarations of love, sharing very personal information early on. Those are all tactics designed to accelerate that sense of trust, that emotional bond, which makes you much more vulnerable to manipulation.
And if someone's constantly pushing cryptocurrency, talking nonstop about their crypto success and how you should get in on it.
That's another big red flag. They might downplay the risks, claim they have some foolproof strategy.
And if they offer to set up your account, manage your investments, that's a huge warning sign.
Legitimate financial advisors have licenses, registrations. They're not going to pressure you into investments you're not comfortable with.
And watch out for emotional manipulation, playing on your fears, your insecurities, even your dreams.
They might threaten to break things off if you don't do what they say.
If you're feeling pressured, guilty, or just drained by the interaction, something's wrong. Trust your gut and get out of that situation. So how do we protect ourselves?
First and foremost, be careful about who you connect with online. Don't share personal information with strangers, and don't engage in conversations that make you uneasy.
And if someone online starts pushing crypto investments,
That's a giant red flag. Always do your research. Consult a trusted financial advisor before making any decisions.
be a smart consumer, take everything with a grain of salt, and don't let those flashy promises blind you.
Now let's talk about another common online scam, advance fee scams.
These are the ones where they ask you for money up front.
promising a much larger reward later, of course.
But that reward never comes.
The victim is left empty-handed.
Lottery scams, inheritance scams, romance scams, they all fall under this umbrella.
And the DFPI report highlights several examples of these advanced fee scams specifically within the crypto world.
So let's take a look at one to see how it plays out.
In one case, a victim was contacted by someone claiming to be from a government grant program.
Ah, the classic grant scam.
Told the victim they were pre-approved, but needed to pay a fee up front to process the application.
I bet they requested that fee in Bitcoin.
You got it. The scammer, who called himself Pedro, insisted on Bitcoin for the fee. The victim, excited about this grant, sent the money.
And surprise, surprise, the grant never materialized.
Pedro and the money vanished. This case shows all the hallmarks of an advanced fee scam: the promise of a reward, the demand for upfront payment, and the inevitable betrayal.
So unsolicited offers, demands for upfront payment, those are all huge red flags.
Especially if they want you to pay using unusual methods like cryptocurrency or gift cards.
Yeah, those methods are virtually untraceable, perfect for scammers.
And watch out for high-pressure tactics, creating a sense of urgency, telling you you'll miss out if you don't act now.
Or threatening you with legal action if you don't pay.
Don't let them rush you. Take your time, do your research, and don't let anyone pressure you into a decision you're not comfortable with.
Now, another thing to watch out for is scammers impersonating legitimate organizations.
Government agencies, charities, well-known companies.
They might even create fake websites or email addresses that look almost identical to the real thing.
So if you're not sure about an organization, contact them directly using their official contact information. Don't rely on the information provided by the person who reached out to you.
So, unsolicited offers, upfront payments, high-pressure tactics, impersonation. These are all red flags to watch out for with advanced fee scams.
If something feels off, trust your instincts and walk away.
Now let's talk about a scam that can really turn your life upside down. Identity theft.
This is when someone steals your personal information and uses it to commit fraud.
It can wreak havoc on your finances, your credit score.
And with everything moving online, identity theft is on the rise.
The DFPI report includes several cases of identity theft happening within the crypto space.
One case involved a victim who was offered a free NFT on a website.
Those are non-fungible tokens, right? Like digital collectibles?
Exactly. But in this case, the offer was a scam, a way to steal the victim's information.
The website asked the victim to connect their crypto wallet, enter their passcode.
The website was a fake, of course. They stole the passcode, gained access to the victim's wallet, and drained it.
So always be careful about connecting your crypto wallet to unfamiliar websites or apps.
Always verify the legitimacy of the platform, and remember, if an offer sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
What are some of the signs that you might be a victim of identity theft?
One of the most obvious is unauthorized activity on your financial accounts.
Transactions you didn't make, bills for accounts you don't recognize.
Or if you start getting calls from debt collectors about debts you don't owe.
That's a bad sign.
And if you're denied credit or your credit score suddenly drops, that could be another indication.
So what steps can we take to protect ourselves?
First and foremost, protect your personal information. Don't share your passwords, social security number, or other sensitive data with anyone you don't completely trust.
Be wary of phishing attempts.
Those are emails or messages designed to trick you into giving up your information.
And always use strong passwords and two-factor authentication.
Regularly check your bank statements, credit card statements, and other financial records for any suspicious activity.
And shred any documents containing personal information before throwing them away.
Be careful about using public Wi-Fi networks. Those are often unsecured.
If you have to use public Wi-Fi, use a VPN to encrypt your connection.
And if you think you've been a victim of identity theft, contact your financial institutions, report the theft to the authorities, and consider placing a fraud alert or credit freeze on your credit reports.
Now let's move on to another type of scam that's becoming increasingly common. Hacking.
This is where someone gains unauthorized access to your computer systems or networks.
They can steal data, disrupt operations, even take control of your devices.
And in the crypto world, hacking is a huge problem. Scammers target exchanges, wallets, any platform where cryptocurrency is stored.
The DFPI report highlights several cases of hacking, showing just how vulnerable our digital assets can be.
In one case, a victim clicked on a link that promised free cryptocurrency.
That sounds tempting.
But the website was a fake. The link contained malicious code that infected the victim's computer with malware.
So it's like a Trojan horse.
Exactly. The malware gave the scammers access to the victim's crypto wallet, and they drained it.
So Always be careful about clicking links, especially from unknown sources.
Verify the legitimacy of the website or email before clicking anything. And remember, if an offer sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
So, how can we protect ourselves from hacking?
Keep your software up to date. Those updates often include security patches that fix vulnerabilities.
Use strong passwords and two-factor authentication.
Be careful about what you download and install.
And be mindful of what you share online. Don't post sensitive information on social media or public forums.
If you think your computer has been hacked, disconnect from the internet immediately.
Run a scan with your antivirus software and change your passwords.
And if you've lost money due to hacking, report it to the authorities right away.
Now, let's shift gears and talk about a type of scam that preys on our desire to help others. Charity scams.
These scams exploit our generosity using emotional appeals to trick us into donating to fake causes.
It's really despicable. They take advantage of people's kindness, especially after natural disasters or during times of crisis.
While the DFPI report doesn't have specific examples of charity scams within the crypto world, these scams are rampant online. And with the rise of cryptocurrency, scammers have another avenue to exploit.
They might set up fake websites or social media accounts that mimic legitimate charities.
Asking for donations in Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies?
So how can we make sure our donations are going to legitimate causes, especially in the world of crypto?
Do your research. Don't just trust a website or social media post blindly. Verify the charity's legitimacy through independent sources like Charity Navigator or GuideStar.
Look for clear information about their mission, their programs, their financials.
Be cautious of charities that pop up overnight, especially after a major event.
And if you're considering donating cryptocurrency, take extra precautions.
Verify the charity's official website. Make sure they accept crypto donations. Don't rely on links or information provided through unsolicited emails or messages.
And it's always a good idea to check if they're registered with the IRS. Legitimate charities have a tax-exempt status.
And most importantly, trust your gut. If something feels off, don't donate. There are plenty of legitimate charities out there doing amazing work.
Now let's move on to a scam that targets people looking for love and companionship. Romance scams.
These scammers prey on people's loneliness, their desire for connection.
They build relationships, gain your trust, and then exploit that trust for financial gain.
They're masters of manipulation, creating these elaborate facades using fake profiles and fabricated stories.
They might spend weeks, months, even years grooming their victims.
Showering them with attention, compliments, promises of a future together.
And then once they've got you hooked, they start asking for money.
They might claim to need money for an emergency, a medical bill, a family crisis.
Or they might concoct these elaborate schemes involving business investments or travel expenses.
And often they'll resort to emotional blackmail, threatening to break off the relationship or claiming they're in danger if you don't send money.
The DFPI report mentions a case where an individual was targeted by someone named Aylin on Instagram.
Aylin threatened to release compromising photos of the victim unless they paid a ransom in Bitcoin.
Classic blackmail.
The victim, terrified, gave in to the demands. But, as is often the case, it didn't stop there. The scammers kept demanding more and more, preying on the victim's fear and desperation.
So how do we protect ourselves from falling victim to these romance scams,
Be cautious about who you connect with online.
especially on dating sites and social media?
Don't share personal information or intimate details too quickly.
Be wary of anyone who professes their love or expresses strong emotions early on.
And never, ever send money to someone you haven't met in person, no matter how compelling their story seems.
If you are considering meeting someone you met online, take precautions. Meet in a public place. Tell a friend or family member where you're going.
And if you're feeling pressured or uncomfortable, trust your instincts and end the relationship.
And if you think you've been a victim of a romance scam, report it to the authorities.
Seek support from friends, family, or a therapist. You're not alone.
Now let's talk about a type of scam that's unique to the crypto world: rug pulls.
These are essentially exit scams that target investors in decentralized finance or DeFi projects.
The developers suddenly abandon the project and run off with the investors' funds.
They might manipulate the code, drain the liquidity pools, or just disappear without a trace.
The DFPI report doesn't have specific examples, but these rug pulls are becoming a big problem in the DeFi space. So how do we avoid getting rug pulled?
Do your research, and I mean really dig deep. Look into the team, the code, the overall legitimacy of the project.
Look for experienced developers, transparent operations, a solid track record.
Be wary of projects promising unrealistic returns or using aggressive marketing tactics.
Avoid investing in projects that lack proper documentation or haven't had their code independently audited.
Diversify your investments. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, especially in the volatile world of DeFi.
And remember, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Now, let's talk about a type of scam that's as old as the internet itself: phishing scams.
These are designed to trick you into revealing sensitive information like your passwords, credit card numbers, or social security number.
The scammers often impersonate legitimate organizations like banks, government agencies, online retailers.
They might send emails or texts that look official, containing links to fake websites.
The DFPI report mentions a case where a victim downloaded a fake Coinbase trading app.
Thinking they were interacting with the real deal.
But it was a malicious program designed to steal their login credentials. Once the scammers had access, they drained the victim's account.
So how can we protect ourselves from these phishing scams?
Be cautious about clicking links in emails or texts, especially if you weren't expecting them.
Always hover over the link to see the actual URL before clicking.
And if an email or text looks suspicious, contact the organization directly using their official contact information.
Never enter your personal information on a website that doesn't have a secure connection.
Look for that padlock icon in the address bar and make sure the URL starts with HTTPS.
Now, let's talk about another scam that plays on people's fears. Fake tech support scams.
These scammers impersonate tech support representatives from well-known companies like Microsoft or Apple.
They might call you, send you pop-up messages claiming there's a problem with your computer,
They try to scare you into giving them remote access to your computer.
which allows them to steal your information or install malware.
While the DFPI report doesn't specifically mention fake tech support scams in the context of cryptocurrency, they are widespread online and they can easily be adapted to target crypto users.
So how do we protect ourselves?
Be wary of unsolicited calls or pop-up messages claiming there's a problem with your computer.
Legitimate tech support companies rarely initiate contact that way.
Never give remote access to someone you don't know and trust.
If you're having a problem, contact the company's official tech support directly.
And if you're unsure about the legitimacy of a call or message, hang up, close the pop-up, and contact the company directly to verify.
We've covered a lot of scams today, but there's one more we need to address: social media scams.
Social media platforms are a breeding ground for scammers.
They spread misinformation, impersonate organizations, lure victims into their traps.
They create fake profiles, hijack accounts, spread malicious links.
The DFPI report doesn't have specific examples for crypto, but these scams are everywhere, and they often exploit people's trust in their social networks. So how can we protect ourselves?
Be cautious about what you click and share.
Don't click links from unknown sources or share personal information with people you don't know and trust.
Be wary of unsolicited messages or friend requests.
Verify the legitimacy of any organization or individual before engaging with them.
And if something seems suspicious, report it to the platform and warn your friends.
It can feel overwhelming, all these scams out there.
But remember, knowledge is power. By understanding how they work and being vigilant, we can protect ourselves and our loved ones.
We'll be back after a short break to wrap things up and give you some key takeaways to remember. So we've spent a lot of time talking about these scams.
A lot of scams.
But remember, knowledge is power. By understanding these tactics, recognizing those red flags, we can make it that much harder for them to succeed.
Right, being proactive, that's key.
Now let's circle back to one of the most damaging scams we discussed. Those pump and dump schemes.
Ah, yes, the Wild West of crypto.
Fortunes made and lost in the blink of an eye.
And that excerpt from Pasted Text, it really highlighted how these schemes manipulate market psychology, creating this artificial frenzy to inflate the price of a worthless asset.
Like a game of musical chairs, where the music stops suddenly and a lot of people are left standing.
And the ones who orchestrated the pump, they're long gone with the profits, leaving everyone else holding the bag.
So how do we avoid getting caught up in the hype and falling prey to these pump and dump schemes?
Well, first of all, be skeptical. If an investment opportunity promises huge returns with little to no risk,
Too good to be true.
it probably is. Don't let greed cloud your judgment.
Do your research.
Absolutely. Look beyond the marketing, dig into the fundamentals of the project. Does it have a solid team, a clear purpose?
A realistic roadmap.
And don't rely on social media for investment advice. That's a breeding ground for misinformation.
Do your own due diligence, consult reputable sources, get advice from a trusted financial advisor.
It all comes down to being an informed and skeptical investor. Don't let FOMO, that fear of missing out, drive your decisions.
Fear and greed, two powerful emotions that scammers love to exploit.
Exactly. And if you do decide to invest in a new cryptocurrency, start small. Never invest more than you can afford to lose.
This is good advice for any investment, really.
It is. The crypto market is volatile, and even legitimate projects can experience significant price swings.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of online scams,
It's been quite a journey.
we want to leave you with a sense of empowerment, not fear.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power.
There are bad actors out there, no doubt about it.
But by being aware of their tactics and taking steps to protect ourselves, we can minimize our risk.
And remember, you're not alone in this fight. There are organizations out there dedicated to fighting scams, protecting consumers, advocating for stronger regulations.
Report any suspicious activity to the authorities. Share your experiences with others to help raise awareness.
We hope this deep dive has been helpful, folks.
Stay vigilant, stay informed.
And stay safe out there.